the sun was hitting his eyes, and I saw the white of his eyes had a yellow tinge, because I never expected it. You're not prepared for it. And then when we got there, actually met by the leading professor from the liver unit upon arrival. And he said to us, your son is very, very sick, and more than likely he's going to die.
Autoimmune chronic hepatitis type 2 is a chronic progressive disease where the immune system attacks liver cells, causing inflammation and potential cirrhosis. And this is what happened to little Craig. It's more common in children and typically more severe. With no known cure, it can lead to liver failure. Life Stories isn't just about those who are with us. It can be about those who have already left us too. And in this case, it is the story of little Craig, as told by his mum Carol and his brother Jamie. This is a very difficult conversation, but there are happy moments as well, so we need to cover it all. It's a parent's, as they say, worst nightmare. I certainly cannot even begin to imagine what you went through. And this is a story about little Craig, your son and your brother Jamie. And we're going to catch up with you shortly, but right now I really want to focus on Mum and her experience with Craig. So let's start with you falling pregnant with Craig. You had a fascination about having a little girl.
That's right.
You had 3 children already.
3 boys.
Craig was number 4. What were those thoughts that were going through? Did you think Craig was a girl?
No. Something told me that it was going to be yet another boy. Yes, I always had the hope that it was going to be a girl.
Yeah.
But no, something inside me told me all the way along, this is another boy.
How was the pregnancy? Nothing out of the usual?
Perfectly normal, nothing. No, I mean, all my pregnancies have been very good pregnancies. So there was nothing untoward, and natural, very quick natural birth. And I actually did not even deliver in the delivery room.
Where? You didn't get there in time?
I did, but I don't know if you remember the old St. Bernard's Hospital,
yes,
the layout.
I had my children there.
That's right. So when you used to go in, and there was like a prep room on the right-hand side, and I was told to lie there. You know, when they used to do the whole enema stuff, I don't know, horrible. All those horrible bits, which they don't do anymore. Thanks God for that. And I was just lying there, and I said, "I'm going to push," and he was born on that bed in that little tiny room.
So Craig was born. Were there any warning signs then? No. When you have your general checks?
No.
They measure, they do this, they do that. Healthy and happy little baby.
He was a perfectly healthy baby.
When did
He was not born with anything wrong.
Yeah. So when did things start to go wrong? When did your motherly instincts kick in and think,
we had just returned from a lovely family holiday, which we had in Wales, of all places. We went to it was a dairy farm in Wales, and the kids had a blast there. They really had, well, I think it must have been one of the most fun holidays they ever had, because it was a whole new experience. Because they were living amongst cows, and it was a calving season, and they were seeing all these calves being born. And I mean, Sean, my eldest, would not even come. We hired a car, and he would not even come with us, just doing the touristy thing. He would just stay there. He would sit on a tractor, and the farmer would take him on the tractor, and it was a great, great holiday. And we came back, and just settled again to normal routine. Kids started school and nursery or what have you. And my husband was in the UK on business, and I phoned my mum and I said, Mum, I'm going to go to La Linea to do some shopping. And do you want to join me? She said, okay, yeah. So off we went to the market, did some shopping, and we were crossing the airport. I was driving, and we were crossing the runway. And you know that September light? I don't know whether you gather what I'm saying. There is a certain light that is typical in the month of September. I think it's the way the sun is hitting.
Because it's heading towards autumn, you mean?
Yeah.
Just a change.
Just a change. There was a beautiful sun coming into the car, and I looked back at him because he made a noise. And I looked back and I saw the sun was hitting his eyes, and I saw the white of his eyes had a yellow tinge. And he said, that's not right. So I said to my mum, Mum, look. And she said, straight to the health centre. So that's what we did. And he was seen, and the doctor there said, you need to take him straight to the hospital. And that's when the whole nightmare really started.
What was running through your head when they're saying straight to the hospital? You know there's an urgency there, it's something serious. What goes through your mind?
Well, everything is just rushing in your mind, you know, but really because you have 4 kids and you are going through so many typical childhood issues, no? They have a fever, they have this, that, and the other. I didn't really think I gave it much of an importance. I said, you know, got an infection, or because I didn't really understand anything about liver disease, so my mind didn't go there.
Right.
So I took him straight to a hospital. The pediatrician was called in, and we said, hey, you've got to stay. And we had 2 weeks stay in hospital, locally, the old St. Bernard's Hospital, where he was being treated for, it was probably an infection. They will give him antibiotics, a lot of urine tests. I remember a lot of urine tests, a couple of blood tests, but it was all very, very casual, with hindsight, obviously.
Yeah.
And because we were there for a couple of weeks, Jamie's birthday was actually coming up. It was his birthday is on the 17th of October, and it was going to be the weekend. And I said to the doctor, please, can I just leave for the weekend, because I would like to celebrate my other boy's birthday. And we were all going to go to the Pinar del Rey and, you know, just buy him a cake and they could play. And the doctor said, well, we'll check his next levels, the urine levels, and we'll see. And he came back and he said, yeah, okay, take him out and have the weekend out and bring him back on the Monday. So that was the plan. And I think this was on the Friday afternoon, I was able to leave. And we had James' little birthday party on the Saturday, and then the Saturday night he had a bad night. He cried a lot that night, and I got him out of his cot. I changed him. He wasn't happy, and I stood him up. So I stood him on the floor, and he collapsed. So
he went floppy.
He went floppy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we rushed him to hospital. And obviously, hell broke loose.
Right.
Because they realized that this was something more serious.
Okay.
So they got in contact with the UK, King's College Hospital, who has a specialist liver unit. And he was told that he had to be put in the next flight to the UK.
Urgently.
Which was that very same evening. He was told this kid needs to go on vitamin K immediately. And we were flown out that evening with a doctor. It was my husband, myself, obviously the baby, and a doctor, because he was on an intravenous He was very, very floppy, very lethargic, and we needed a doctor on the flight.
Incredible. And you had to obviously leave 3 very young children behind.
That's right.
In the care of. So your worries and concerns are split 4 ways.
That's right. That's right.
It's incredible being a mum, isn't it, really?
So yes, I mean, there and then, obviously, I think that I just blanked out the fact that there were other 3 kids here, because my mind was going so fast, because I never expected it. You're not prepared for it.
Yeah.
And then when we got there, I mean, the treatment that we received there, the 4 months that we spent there, was incredible. Incredible. I can't fault the NHS. When you hear so many people complaining about the NHS, especially nowadays, no? It was immaculate, totally immaculate. We had Calpe House already prepared for us to stay there. It was all done on the same day. And as soon as we got there, they said, no, you're not going to stay anywhere else. We've got, there's 2 rooms here in the hospital. There was 2 wards, pediatric wards. And then there was, outside in the corridors, there was this flight of steps which led down to like a different level, a lower level, which had like storerooms. And then there was this like a lounge area with a kitchenette and TV room. But they just had like 2 bedrooms. And one was used by a family who had a very sick girl, and she was always in and out of hospital. And another family had just left this other room, which was immediately allocated to us, and they said, no, you're not going anywhere else, you're staying here, and we're providing the accommodation for you.
So things progressed. It was very, very serious. Did you have a diagnosis at this point?
We were actually met by the leading professor from the liver unit upon arrival. And his words, he was so blunt, and his words are the words that continue to shock my husband to this day. For me, it was more of an out-of-body experience, because, as I say, my mind was rushing in such a way that I could hear what was happening, but I could not process.
You couldn't absorb it.
And he said to us, your son is very, very sick, and more than likely he's going to die.
Wow.
That is one of the first things he said. But he was also very cross. He was very cross because in that same conversation, he said that he wished that the kids who were jaundiced and had obvious issues with the liver were referred to them ASAP. That they needed to be referred to a specialist liver unit as soon as possible, because they were the experts, really. So he told us, look, obviously from the notes that we took, this is not hepatitis A, this is not hepatitis B. We class this upon arrival, we class this as hepatitis C, which means that it's unknown. Basically, that is what hepatitis C means. And he said, we might find out what's wrong with him, and we might never find out what's wrong with him. But now you're in the best place, and we shall immediately start testing, obviously. And that's what happened. They started testing. I mean, it was, honestly, they were onto him, like every single kind of test you can imagine was done the following morning. And they did come back pretty soon, probably within the week. They said, this is an autoimmune disease. So basically what it was that he had a virus, and his antibodies were, instead of attacking the virus, went for his liver, because obviously there must have been an accumulation of the virus there, and it attacked his liver.
Major organ, so very,
That's
very
right.
dangerous.
That's right. So, and they made it very clear that there could have been much better help for him if we would have gone there. We would have been sent there from day one.
I can only imagine, being a mother myself, once those words actually sunk in, how do you feel when you're looking at him, so little in that bed, that sense of helplessness, broken-hearted, the power isn't in your hands anymore? It must be an incredible feeling, that.
You have to believe that he is in the best hands, and that they are going to save him, and they are going to give him the best that's available. And obviously, to bring back a smile on everyone's faces, the following morning, I mean, as I said before, we arrived there with a very lethargic baby, and the following morning the door of his room opened with these two doctors, and with a very grim look on their faces, and Craig was sat under the sink of the room with a plastic basin over his head, just looking. And the doctors, they just burst out laughing, because they said, "Is this really this baby that
the same
just
child that came
breathed,
in,
that has come in, who was very, very sick?"
Yeah.
And that's really the type of child that he was.
You must have really held on to those moments, though, with him.
Yes.
Those 4 months.
Yes.
So you were in the hospital for 4 months. It ran over the Christmas period. At this point, you must have been in touch with the family, Jamie, his brothers. You bring them over.
Yes, that's right, because obviously there was a big desire to see them, because we couldn't communicate like you communicate nowadays. You just don't open your phone and say, well, let's FaceTime like you do nowadays. And it was very, very hard not to have any visuals of your kids. So we would have to save pound coins the old-fashioned way, and go down the hall to a coin phone.
Yeah.
And make calls. So, and they would come to the phone and they would say, "Hi, Mommy, hi, Daddy." And I would say, "What did you do in school today?" It was obviously, I think Jamie hadn't even started school, maybe.
I was probably just about, no?
Yeah. So, what did you do today? Oh, I played with so-and-so, did this, that, and the other. But, they were very young. So, you could hear their voices for a few minutes, but it was mainly talking to the family members who were looking after them. So we had a real desire to see them, and we arranged for our in-laws to fly out with the 3 of them, and they spend a week there with us during the Christmas period.
Because Christmas is all about family and making those memories, and you didn't know with any certainty that Craig would live to see another Christmas. So this must have been very special for you to make those memories.
By then he had already had a liver transplant, because they had tried the treatments that were available for the autoimmune disease, but his liver was too far gone, which is why the doctor was so cross when we arrived.
Right.
So by then he had had his liver transplant, and things had picked up a bit in us believing that maybe there was going to be a happy outcome, because the actual transplant went very, very well. They were very happy with it. And I would like to mention the fact that the gratitude you feel towards the family that's giving these organs of another child.
Of another child, that's right.
To save your child.
Yeah.
So, and he was actually an 11-year-old boy.
Wow.
And part of his liver was given to donated to Craig. because at that time they had already started being able to cut the organ and actually use it for donation. So that is something that it's always very prominent, you know, that there was a family there willing to donate and what did they go through?
Absolutely.
What was the issue with the problem with their child? How did they lose their child?
Absolutely.
And where other children helps as well, because I'm sure it was not just the liver that was donated. I'm sure there are other kids there who made it through the process of receiving other organs from that child and surviving. So that's the happy story behind
Yeah.
donation, which is another very interesting topic.
Yeah, absolutely, and an important one. And I will be covering that one, don't worry. What was it like in those final days with Craig when the outcome wasn't going to be a good one and you knew that was sitting on the horizon and you knew that you had days, possibly weeks? What was that like?
Straight after the transplant, we were told by one of the professors. He came to us and he said, it was one of the professors that we got very close to, and he said, the first 10 days are vital. If he gets through the first 10 days without any issues, then we start believing that this is going to work. Because obviously, from their statistics, they must have known that the chances grew for a happy outcome. So you know, he was out of the bed on day 3, just walking.
Yeah.
So happily, you know, smiling and playing with his toys, and so we really believed this might work. This is going to. So, and we were just counting the days, day 6, day 7, day.
Yeah.
And day 10 at around 6 o'clock in the afternoon, he started a fever.
Was that on the 24th, was it? Was that on the Christmas Eve?
No, that was prior to that. That was prior to Christmas Eve. Because Christmas Eve, the thing is that after that, anything and everything that's in the book that can go wrong, went wrong. That's why it's such a sad story. And because on Christmas Day he had to be rushed to emergency surgery.
On Christmas Day?
On Christmas Eve, sorry.
Christmas Eve.
They were there.
Yeah, we were like, I remember, that's one of the memories I have of Santa coming to us in that room. We were staying below the hospital, but obviously our parents were kind of keeping all this away from us, right? We weren't understanding the magnitude of what was actually happening above us, you know?
Yeah, that's right. And he had to be rushed to have an emergency surgery. I'm not going to go into the details of what happened, but it was very, very unpleasant. And actually that night, when we got back to the room to see how you guys were doing, because they were asleep, my eldest had got up because he had heard commotion, and he was telling me the other day that I hadn't remembered this. He said that he remembers asking me, "Mum, my brother Craig is going to die, isn't he?" So he realized that night because of everything.
And he was 6.
He was 6, yeah. And you know, we just kept going because remember that he died in February. So
he hung on in there for a long time.
Yeah,
it was a
hung on
fighter.
He did. And yes, when you realize that there's no hope, and you're told there's no hope. We were told, look, we can make him as comfortable as possible, and he can stay in this plateau now for no amount of time. We don't know. We can't tell you. So if you want to go back home now, we can make all the arrangements to go back home. And that is really what we started planning to do. We were actually given a house here in Humphreys, a government flat, because where we lived we had a lot of steps and it was going to be very difficult to keep living there. And we were making all these arrangements, and everything. We had flights, everything to come over, and he just took another turn, and we said no, we just can't fly out with him like this. We just have to wait for him to pass here in the UK. And then your question is, how do you feel? How do you? To be honest with you, I started feeling some kind of peace.
Was it a matter of he's not suffering anymore?
That's right. 100% for me. Yeah.
But difficult to let go.
Oh yeah.
Nevertheless.
Oh yeah. But the acceptance, I mean, I think that I dealt with it in that way because I accepted that he was going to pass, and the acceptance was that he had to be relieved of all the pain that he was going through. I had to let go in that way. I kept telling myself, no more pain, no more pain, and I've got to let go.